One of the key things that we're looking at in water-friendly farming is freshwater biodiversity. And the project's really quite unusual in that we're not just focusing on streams and rivers. And that's because a lot of recent evidence suggests that in agricultural areas in particular, other freshwater habitats are really important. So ponds are particular biodiversity hotspots, and other habitats like headwater fens and springs, little flushes, and even agricultural ditches can be important for biodiversity. One of the big surprises in water-friendly farming is that in part of our area, freshwater biodiversity is actually declining. So we have 3 project catchments, and one of them is a control where we're not making any differences, we're not changing anything. And in that catchment, we've actually seen a decline. I've been monitoring freshwater plants in that catchment for 14 years now. And during that time, we've actually lost about a wetland plant on average every year. So we had 84 species. In 2010, when we started, we've now lost 12 of those species, so we're right down to 72. And that's a really big loss to see over such a short period of time. We don't know if these sorts of losses are happening more widely in the countryside. Pretty much nobody does this sort of landscape scale monitoring, but clearly if it is happening, it would be a very worrying trend. The good news is that water-friendly farming's shown that there's something we can do about that, and that's to create new clean water ponds. So that's not making any old pond, it's putting ponds into parts of the countryside where they won't be polluted. So that could be woodlands, or it could be areas of low input grassland, particularly if the ponds are grazed, or just areas where they're not in the way. The main thing is not to have ponds created in areas where they're draining arable fields, and in particular, new ponds shouldn't have inflows. So try to avoid inflows such as streams, inflow ditches, or even pipes going into ponds, because they almost always bring in pollutants, and ultimately that will damage the wildlife in ponds.
Farmers have been very happy to put ponds in place actually for the water-friendly farming project, and very often they become really interested in the wildlife associated with them and appreciate them as a landscape feature. The key thing to consider when we're creating ponds for wildlife is that they're not affected by agricultural or domestic sources of pollution. So they haven't got any water flowing into them, and they tend to be small, unproductive parts of the land that farmers are happy to use for pond creation. It's relatively straightforward to create the ponds. It can be done with a digger on farm or a local contractor. My wife and I have created a pond on our own farm, which was relatively straightforward, and we're looking forward to seeing what occupies it.
So adding these new clean water ponds has made an enormous difference. In the catchment where we've added them, we've actually increased the freshwater biodiversity across that region by 15%, and we've more than doubled the number of regionally rare plants in that area. And that's an amazing result in such a short period of time. Other features that we've added to the catchment haven't made such a significant difference. So we put in bunded ditches, we've added water storage areas, we've put in leaky dams, lots of things, but they've not had the significant effect on biodiversity that clean water ponds have.